Listen, we can all agree that losing body fat is hard. If it's that easy, a lot of people will be in shape. But losing body fat and at the same time trying to run a marathon is 2 times as hard. And if you're into this channel, just finding this video for the first time, that is exactly what I am trying to do. As of this time I was recording this video, which is Friday the 10th, I am 27 days out from competing in my last bodybuilding show, and the week prior to that I'm going to be running for a marathon. So in the last 8 weeks or so, I'm in a session with training. Yes, the last 7-8 weeks or so, which is not enough time for you to get ready. I've been training for a marathon, and I've been training for my last bodybuilding show, and I thought in today's video I'd just take you guys along to kind of just give you context and show you how I've been manage my nutrition, what are the strategies that I'm using to make sure I'm doing both. And as always with these videos, I'm always trying to put a context out there, like, no, I'm not saying you should definitely use this as a means or a structure or strategy or the exact macros that you can use to follow on your nutrition journey. But I'm just going to bring you into the context of what I am doing as a almost 42-year-old dad. I've been training for the last 20 plus years. I am 6'1", and I woke up this morning at 209, which is, the last 3 days has been a consistent under 210 that I've been weighing in since I actually started this prep. I started this prep at 215, and I've been stuck at 215 and 212 for a while. And here's the beautiful part about that. The beautiful part is fat loss and weight loss is not the same. Because the scale is not moving doesn't mean recomposition is not happening. If you know what recomp is essentially when you are maintaining the same body weight, but at the same time body fat is coming down. What's going to be different in this video compared to some of the videos that you might have seen in a while, it's not a full day of eating. Yes, I'm going to be showing you a little bit here and there of what I'm eating, but the bulk of this video, the meat of the bone of this video is going to be how the breakdown of my strategy and how I'm managing nutrition, running a marathon at the same time, and why I try to be in a caloric deficit. And the reason why I think that is very important is because a lot of questions that people ask me most of the time or recently has been, how are you managing nutrition and still be able to log 30 to 40 miles a week, so an 8-mile speed workout in between? How are you managing that and still being able to stay on top of your nutrition or be in a caloric deficit to lose body fat? So here, that's what I'm going to be covering into this video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. The reason why I started this video in the garage is because I literally was just finishing a run not too long ago. So this morning I did a 3-mile run. So I've been running pretty much every day with the exception of one day, Wednesdays, and pretty much every day I've been running. So what I do, most of my runs are fasted, and with the exception of my long runs on Saturday, which is typically quote unquote fed. By fed I mean I'm just taking like a scoop of Tailwind with some electrolytes, and I'll take a gel with me just in case if I need that for that last minute energy boost, because again, like I said, I'm still in a caloric deficit. But what I do typically after every run is, first and foremost, electrolyte, creatine, and my supplement, because especially creatine is something that typically people forget because it doesn't have any flavor. But of course, electrolyte also too, because I need to replenish some of the electrolytes I might have lost. Even the weather's changing, having or staying on top of my electrolyte is still something that's very, very important and that you should be doing too, because we are going to like colder months. So something that you definitely want to stay on top. So the first in the morning, after I finish my run, I take a scoop of 5 grams of creatine, and I take 1 packet of my electrolyte from Switchback. By the way, Samok if it was every 10%. I took that to the dome, so some of my multivitamins in the morning just to get my day started, get my kids ready, then I head to work. So like I like to mention that I'm a dad and I work in a corporate field, and one of the things that helps me stick to my nutrition is preparation, meaning I prepare my meals the day before. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll get my run in, I get my shakedown, I help the girls get ready for school, and I just grab my whatever food I've packed the night before, and I just head out the door. So it's again, I've been doing this for the last 60 plus years, and it's something I stand by. And that's something that I truly believe that's been one of the key hacks to allow me to stay on my nutrition. Today I'm not in the office. I'm actually going to Chicago for the Chicago Marathon weekend. To kick off my day, really, one of the things that I do, one of the meals that I have is a protein bar. And protein bar, because it's just easy to grab, and I'm not really looking for any sort of like bigger meals or anything like that. It's a quick 20, sometimes 40 grams of carbs because I eat 2 of them, and 40 grams of protein just to get my day started. And one of the hacks also too, the reason why I think most men especially, complain about they're not, being in the best shape of their lives is because they are busy with kids. But actually I use that excuse as a hack that actually allows me to stay on top of nutrition. Because chances are when I'm busy, when I'm doing work, I'm not food focused, I'm work focused. So I'm essentially quote unquote distracted. And to the point where sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I gotta eat, because I know during my lunch break is when I typically get my workout in. So I need to make sure I eat something else to make sure I have enough energy at least to last my workout. So again, my go-to is a pure protein bar. You guys have obviously we talked about this. more than ever. And sometimes if I feel like, okay, maybe I have an event going on later on, I want to save a little bit more calories, I might just have some, maybe scrambled eggs with, you know, maybe a little bit of veggies on it, just to save some calories for later, some carbs for later. But in this case, normally that's what I start my day with, just because it's very convenient. So 40 grams of carbs, 40 grams of protein right off the dome, and get my day started. And wash it out with a cup of coffee, and that sets me up for quite some time. If you're in a fat loss phase, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is make sure you are eating protein on a consistent basis. Why protein? Because protein obviously helps you maintain or keep the muscle mass that you already have, or maintain or keep growing more muscle mass throughout a fat loss phase. And two, because protein is very satiating, so it's going to keep you a lot satiated throughout a fat loss phase. But not all protein are created equal, like especially when it comes to protein supplements. So let me break that down for you. So we have 3 different kinds of protein right here. So we have one for Transparent Labs. This is 28 grams of protein per serving. We have one from Ghost. Oh, this is really good for like overnight oats or your creamies. Just because of the chunks in it. So this has 26 grams of protein, and we have the Target version, which is the up and up version, and this has 26 grams of protein. But all these protein supplements are not created equal, especially if you are in a fat loss phase, because they matter. So if you turn this around and you look at the macro breakdown on here, yes, it's 130 calories for the Transparent Labs. This is a 160 calories for the Ghost, and this right here also is 160 grams of protein right here. So what I look at, especially in the fat loss phase, is I'm looking, okay, what has the most amount of protein macros without a lot of trace macros. Trace macros meaning it doesn't have a lot of fats or carbs in here. So this one has 1 grams of fat, 1 grams of carbs, and Ghost has 2.5 grams of fats and 8 grams of carbs, compared to the 1 gram of carbs. And the Target version has 3 grams of fat, almost as much as the Ghost, and 7 grams of carbohydrates, almost as much as Ghost also too. So the one that I've been using lately most of is the Transparent Labs, all because it just has less amount of grams of carbs in it. But some of you guys might be looking at that and thinking, what's the big deal? I mean, it's only 30 calories difference, but it's a big deal to me, especially if you are in a caloric deficit. It should be a big deal to you too if you are in a caloric deficit, especially as deep of a deficit like I am. The difference from 30 calories, it's the difference between having maybe 50 grams of protein, or measured 50 grams of strawberries more, or additionally maybe an extra little sweet thing I can add to just keep it satiated for the rest of the day. So it does matter when you are in a caloric deficit. Every gram matters. Because you're trying to find opportunities to elongate or to have, you know, more mass or volume in your nutrition intake to keep you satiated, because you're in a deficit and you are going to be hungry. So not all protein supplements are created equal. Again, this is not to say protein is bad or one supplement is better than the other. It just comes down to the macronutrients. So one of my also go-to meal that I have is the lavash wrap. If you follow me on Instagram, you heard me talk about this before. The lavash wrap essentially is a flat wrap that is the size of my whole head, and it only has 18 grams of carbs in it. Actually has a little bit of trace macros from protein. Very macro efficient, and you can cut that in half, and that's going to still give you a decent amount of volume, just to, you know, tuck a lot of protein in it. It could be chicken, it could be veggies. It's a good wrap. It's going to save you a ton of calories, and it's going to keep you full, and that's been my staple every day, something I have in between the day. What is my macro breakdown? My macro breakdown right now, like I said, this is not a macro that you should use. This morning when I woke up, like I mentioned, I woke up at 209. I am 6'1", and at 209 and 6'1", I have not really changed my macros at all in the last 7 weeks, because again, everything has been remaining stable, but running volume and intensity has been climbing up. And when you're trying to change anything when it comes to fat loss, you can pick one variable to adjust as you go along the way, especially if you're not seeing the result that you're looking for, or you can pick 2 variables. The variable that I'm talking about, meaning you can increase your calories, you can increase the cardio that you're doing, aka output. Maybe if you're doing 500 calories of cardio in the past for the rest of the week, you can increase that to 700 calories and keep food the same. Or sometimes you might just need to do both. In my case, I'm doing both just because the timing of the show, I have short time to get ready for the show, so sometimes I'm adjusting both. But in this case, in the last couple of weeks, I've not adjusted my running, because naturally I've not adjusted my nutrition, just because my running has been increasing in volume and intensity. My intensity is coming from my long run, or quote unquote my intensity is coming from my increase in long run and increase in one of my speed workouts. So I'm going from a 6-mile speed workout to an 8-mile speed workout. So if that is an increase in effort and output, there's there's no really any reason for me to increase or decrease my nutrition because I'm still in a place where I'm expending a lot of calories. So if you're out there and wondering what kind of adjustment do I need to make when I'm in a fat loss phase, should I cut calories or should I increase my or decrease my food? It's going to be dependent on you. And one of the other strategies that I use for a lot of my clients that I coach is before I make any sort of adjustment, I ask them, how is your week looking like? For my parents, for my professionals that I work with, what is your schedule looking like in a week? Is your schedule looking like you have a lot of work to do? You have a lot of traveling? In that situation, you know, balancing workout or meal might just be very hard, and you just focus on output where you can just get more cardio, more steps in, and that's some of the variables that you have to change. I think that's very, very important, because if you make those changes without asking that question, that's just going to put you in a position where there's going to be a lot of friction, and it's going to limit you in terms of the adherence to your nutrition protocol or the calorie or the cardio protocol that you should be having to facilitate the kind of goal and the response that you're looking for. But as far as me, what do I have? What's my macros? What's a breakdown of everything I'm doing? So in the last 7 weeks or so, my fat has been hovering anywhere between 40 to 50 grams of fat, and my carbs has been what I call, you know, poverty macros. It's been hovering anywhere between sometimes 50 grams of carbs from veggies to sometimes, you know, maybe 90 grams of carbs from a mix of veggies and starchy carbs. Protein relatively is staying anywhere between 240 to 240 to 260 grams of protein. I'd like to keep my protein relatively high because it allows me, one, to feel satiated, and two, allows me to maintain as much lean tissue mass as much as possible. And the goal, the rule of thumb, is I try to keep fat most of the time at about 20% of my total caloric intake. And this strategy is something I implement from Monday through Thursday. But that tends to change when it comes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The reason why my macros typically would change from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is because Saturdays are typically my long run days. So when I increase my calories on Friday, when I increase quote unquote 200 grams of carbs on a Friday, I might bring protein down a little bit to 200 just to cover my base, a gram of protein per lean tissue mass, and I shift that calories towards having more carbs because I want to quote unquote top off my glycogen. I put that in air quotes because when you are deep in a caloric deficit, you can't really top off that much glycogen because you expend them, so you go through them so much because you are in a caloric deficit. So I increased my carbs slightly on Thursday to give me enough opportunity to get some of my runs in, at least my longer runs, to have a decent amount of energy, right? And this is important, this is crucial, because I posted a video on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and that video essentially is just talking about how I'm running on 25 grams of carbs. And 25 grams of carbs meaning, yes, I have my tailwind, a scoop of tailwind, a scoop of switchback electrolyte before my runs, and I have one of my gels with me, which is my 6 energy gel, which is 40 grams of carbs, just in case maybe midway through my run or close to the end of my run, I feel like I'm about to bunk out and I need something else, then I have that. And the reason why I typically like to go into these long runs fasted or trying to, you know, withhold as many carbs as much as possible is because I would like to use those carbs to actually enjoy some food later in the day and actually have some sort of like meal in me for me to help with quote unquote recovery. And I'm going to put that in air quote again because you can only recover as much as you can if you are in as much of a deficit that I am. So weekends, I increase my calories. Sundays, I decrease calories a little bit. Still not in the poverty macros. And the strategy and the goal is just allow me to facilitate a little bit of recovery to put myself in a place and position when I start the week. I'm not starting the week behind the 8 ball and just struggling because I'm having a carryover fatigue from the weekend. So that's why I think it's very important. Yes, I can show you all the meals that I'm having every day, but I think you're not going to be able to learn a lot from that because yeah, you see what the kind of foods that I eat. Great, I eat protein bars, egg whites, you know, Greek yogurt or whatever it is, right? And you go by your way. That satisfies you. But as far as giving you some tips and helps or insight on how I navigate my macros or what influence the lever that I'm pulling when it comes to adjusting macronutrients, that will be a little more beneficial to you. So just to recap alone, Mondays through Thursday are my deep, you know, state. And that's something you can definitely try also too, where let's say you have a very active weekend, or you have a weekend where you're a dad, you chase after your kids. You can use your days where you're thinking you might be, you know, low energy or low output, not low energy, just life is not going to be too crazy during the week. You can use that as an opportunity to dig. And when you exit that, let's say you come into the weekend, you're a dad that chases after your kids, you know, you have a lot of things going on the weekend, maybe social life also too. You can use that opportunity to kind of just increase your calorie a little bit into a maintenance. And that could be anywhere between 300 to 400 grams of 300 to 400 calories that you're going to be adding towards your total caloric average caloric intake that you've been intaking from Monday through Thursday, just to give you that quote-unquote diet break, right? To feel good, you bring stressor down. It's going to make you feel good for the weekend. Psychologically, it's going to make you feel better. You shed some of those stress that your body's been holding on to. So that's why sometimes when I have clients increase their calories or increase the carbs on the weekends, they typically come back, 2-3 days, I'm like, wow, I hit a new low. That's because your diet fatigue came down, and it kind of just gives you your body to kind of do what it naturally does. So that is the video for you guys. That is what my full nutrition looks like as I try to run a marathon and compete in my last bodybuilding show back-to-back weekends. If you enjoyed this video, hopefully you do, and if you want me to record like a full day of eating just to give you exactly what I'm eating, newsflash, it's not going to be anything different than some of the things I just talked about today, because I like to eat the same thing over and over again. It might sound boring to a lot of you guys, but that's what I call a system, because it fits into my system of how my day goes. It gives me less stress, and actually I still enjoy a lot of the food that I consume. So don't be alarmed when I say I eat the same thing every day. I eat the same thing that I still enjoy to eat, and I might just decrease the volume of what I'm eating on a day-to-day basis. That is the video for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe, because I think you'll like it here, because we have more content coming up, especially going to 2026 with a lot of adventures, a lot of fitness adventures, endurance adventures that I have coming up in 2026, which I'm going to be creating cinematic type vlog for you guys. I do have a team that's going to be producing that for me. You're gonna love it if you love pushing yourself, if you love being encouraged, if you love value, if you love something that you can take home and actually apply into your own life. This is the channel for you. Like always, don't forget to empty your tank. Samok from Samok Fit, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.